Hello everyone, this is V Buzzing with V. Welcome to another video. Well, today's video is a walkthrough on how I make my TN inserts, and we're going to start off with a 4.5 by 8.5 sheet of paper. This is a scrap sheet of paper, and I'm just using it as a template. And so I am using my scraps, you guys. I'm currently working with Marigold, and I have already made a lot of projects, and so I wanted to use these exact sheets of paper. However, I didn't have the full sheet, so I'm using scraps. And I'm going to also use I didn't use the stickers. I didn't use those larger stickers. I do use the charms. And so here's another sheet of a template that I cut out. The other one was too thin, so I decided to get some cardstock. And so all we're going to do is just fit it on there, and we're not going to glue anything just yet. I'm going to start to sew and put my layers together, and you'll see how. So I'm starting off with the left side of the TN insert, which will be the binding, but you know, we're not going to bind anything just now. So I do sew on that, and I'm just trying to figure out if it's going to fit or not, how it's going to look. And so I do use multiple sheets of scrap paper. So I'm also going to sew on that and decide what kind of shape I want it to be. So in this case, I did use scissors on that swan piece of paper, and then on the other sheet, which is the black and white, I did tear. So now I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on both of those layers, and we're not going to glue anything just yet. I do use some score tape just to keep the paper in place for a little while, and very little, not that much, because the score tape does tend to stick to your needle. So just a heads up on that. So I'm done with the zigzag stitching. I'm trying to see if I like the whole layout still, just trying to figure everything out, and I really do. And I was sent this piece of ribbon in my last swap, so I wanted to go ahead and use that because it's so dainty and fine. I really loved it, and so I'm gonna attach it to the binding, the left piece of paper on that side. And so I also decided, hey, I want to go ahead and stitch some sequins. And so I got the largest sequin pieces that I had in gold, and I went ahead and stitched that on the paper. So you just have to be a bit careful and just go slow and steady and sew them in. I initially wanted them to be super close together, touching. However, that didn't work out with the sewing machine. The sewing machine tends to push the sequins out of the way, and it kind of slips and slides there for a little bit. But and if you can see there that it's not totally straight, but it's fine. I still like it. I'm loving these TNs. These TNs are just awesome. I love Char's take on this. It's kind of like a planner slash TN slash journal, and I love it. So I'm definitely going to create more of these and also get into some journal books as well. I've been loving them as well. I did make my first journal a few months ago. So here I am gluing that piece on. I did sew the ribbon attached. I did sew the ribbon to that piece, and so I'm just using some hot glue. I love hot glue. I like it because it doesn't warp. I know you have to work fast with it, but the liquid glue, it just doesn't work with me. So I'm more of a hot glue person. So I decided I want to fussy cut these geese out, or no, these ducks. I want to fussy cut these ducks out, and so I fussy cut them out I'm going to sew them on, and they're just going to be an added decorative touch. So it's kind of like a 3D look without going massively 3D, because these are journal inserts, TN inserts. You want to write on them. You want to attach things to this sheet. It can't be too layered, or it can't have too, well, in my opinion, not too much stuff going on, because you're going to attach other papers to this sheet. So I wanted it clean and simple. And so I'm going to add a shaker, and I initially wanted to use some foam. However, that did not work out, because again, it has to be flat, or as flat as possible. And so I decided just to add my sequins and add the backing, add also a trim to the front. And this is my first one, and I was doing this one a little bit different, using some of this glue, which is called Glossy Accents. I always forget the name, but in my next, or the other side of the sheet, you will see that I will sew everything down, which is way better if you sew all the layers down versus gluing. So I like it best. You could try either way, but they both work the same. I just like to sew all the layers down for a shaker, for a TN. So I'm adding the trim to the heart, and I got this die from In Love Art Shop. I will have them linked below. I'm not sure if my 20% coupon will work, but you could definitely try it. I will have it linked below as well. So these hearts right here, I did die cut them out and then added a hole with this punch from Hobby Lobby. And what these are, they're layered hearts, and they're for journaling. So if whoever has this page wants to add some journaling, they have a little piece of paper there to journal on. I didn't want to leave this completely blank without having some type of journaling, because that's what a TN is. A traveler's notebook. You have to journal. So that was my intention for the hearts. And I did attach a brad, I believe they're called brads, a brad to it. And I did pick these up from Target. And so there it is right there. All those are the leftover pieces from the heart punch, or the heart shaker area that I die cut out. So yeah, so on to the other side. So this is the other side, which will be gluing to the back of the first sheet. So I'm starting off with the shaker, and I do sew. So you'll see me sewing. Oh, I want to mention that Shara does not have a tutorial yet for these TNs. So our group kind of winged it, and I think everyone did such an amazing job at winging it, and they got everything pretty down. So I wanted to share mine for inspiration as well for those who want to participate. Again, I will have her linked below. So this is one of the cut aparts from the paper pad, and I cut that out. I also scored it on the left side and added some stitching. And so I glued it on with some hot glue, and now I want to add this bee. And initially when I added this bee, I was thinking, hey, I'll need this bee to be there as a closing device of some sort to this journal page here. And so I didn't think it through, and I was figuring, hey, when I twirl that bee around, because it does have a brad, the journal page will be able to open. Well, I almost didn't do it properly, but luckily it came through and it works just fine. So be on the lookout for that if you try this. So just make sure that your page will open and you don't secure it down. So it's just best so you don't have an extra hole there. So I love this bee die. I picked it up not me, my husband picked it up for me as a surprise from Amazon. So I love it so much. I'm so happy that he picked it up, because it matches the marigold so well. So I did add the marigold swan charm. I added some beads on that journal card, and it says, if you turn it around, it should say always believe in you. And then there I'm just showing you the ducks in the journal pieces. And I also added a charm gifted to me by Tree Craft On here on YouTube. Thank you, Tree. And I want to mention that if you have this punch here, be sure to punch out your TN pages first, because if you start gluing on, it'll be too thick and you won't be able to punch. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.